Idiots was such a bad movie, I almost didn't do this review. In case you're new here, my name is author R.L. Raintree. This is Reels and Reads, where I give honest reviews and occasional spoilers. I've been looking at trailers for Idiots since, I believe, January, and this looked like the most unhinged, wild ride that I could expect out of a film this year. It stars O'Shea Jackson Jr., Dave Franco, Mason Thames. I have to read my list. I'm holding on to my cat today. Peter Dinklage, Kiernan Shipka, and Nicholas Braun. And it comes out August 28th, so in about a week or so. Again, it was marketed as this really wild ride, like Hangover or, one of those movies. And so I was locked in. Sometimes you just want to laugh. Sometimes you just want to have a really good time. But this movie didn't know whether it wanted to be dark, a comedy, or a perfect balance of both, and it did not balance both. It is dark in the sense that it is a story about two men who have hit rock bottom, and so their employment at the time is to transport a teenager to a rehab facility. Now, I've done this job once when I was, late teens, early 20s, and I can tell you that it is a very emotionally taxing job, and teenagers who know they're going to, well, in California we call it CYA, they will do everything they can to get out of that car. They will do everything to avoid acting like they have some sense. I mean, it's amazing. That's a video for another day, but that's their job. And of course, as expected, everything this teenager can do to be a jerk, this teenager does. But the dark part of it is the things that happened. There is drug activity. There's so much more that I don't want to get in trouble for saying on YouTube, which is weird how that goes, but it's dark in the plot. It's dark in discussing the things that happened to each one of these individuals when they were younger, the struggles that they were going through in life, but there wasn't enough comedy to balance that out, enough for me to call it a dark comedy. It starts right away. It wastes no time getting started with this film. This is where the dark comedy comes in, with O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character. I believe his name is Mark. He works at either a church or a Catholic school. It's not made clear. I'm assuming it's a Catholic school because he took students to a film. And the film was not rated. And for those who aren't aware, if a film is not rated, it is porn. Because it was porn. He took a bunch of Catholic school students to see a porn. And here's the thing. He didn't understand what the rating meant. Fair. It had a title that was misleading. Also fair. But immediately, once it becomes clear that there is nudity involved and certain types of activity, you cover the kid's eyes and you run them out of there and say, oh, we were misled. You blame the theater or whatever. But he in fact stayed and had sat with the children as they watched the entire film. Needless to say, he was fired because he's an idiot, hence the title. And then you have Dave Franco getting fired from his job. He, of course, acts an ass. So they wind up together because Dave Franco's character has a car in order to transport this very, very wealthy teen who is definitely smarter than them, but still an idiot in his own right. That is the entire film. That is the entire film. These grown men who can't do the simplest freaking thing, which is transport a teenager to the facility and then collect a check and move on. I wanted to care about these characters. I didn't. They were too stupid to care about. There wasn't enough comedy for me to really, really laugh. I mean, the first 5 minutes was so just, you did what at the movie theater? I thought it was going to be funnier. I thought it was going to be more of that, and it wasn't. We had long, very, very long periods of time where it was just dark, more dramatic, more of an after school special than it was any comedy. There wasn't a balance of the darkness and the comedy. O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s acting wasn't really at its best to begin with. I'd say he was more convincing in Den of Thieves than he was in this film. Dave Franco gave us a performance we know that Dave Franco can give. I mean, he was pretty much carrying this film on his back. And of course, Peter Dinklage and everyone else in the film that had more experience, they were definitely doing a great job in their roles. But O'Shea Jackson just wasn't very convincing, which there's not much to convince us of. So failing to do that says a lot. So ultimately, this is probably the first time I've done this since I started this YouTube channel, but I'm giving this film a 1 star. I would not spend money on it in the theater. I wouldn't even bother to watch it on demand. It is very boring. It is very slow. It fails to connect. It's not funny enough to be called a comedy, and it's not dark enough to be called a dark comedy. It's like it doesn't know if it wants to be a drama or a comedy or something in between, and it just failed right across the board. And that's it. That's all I have to say. I wish the film was as exciting and entertaining as the trailer, but alas, it wasn't. Don't waste your time or your money. This has been Rose and Reads. I'm author R.L. Raintree. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can be notified the next time I give a review. Hopefully a much happier review than this one the next time I post. Thanks for watching.